right, guys, what's up? Today, we're doing Norbit, 2009 Eddie Murphy movie, directed by Brian Robbins, written by Eddie Murphy and his brother, the late, great Charlie Murphy.
Yeah.
And Ryan is MIA. We don't know where he is, but he's probably having a good time out there. But today we got our good buddy, Chris Stathis. Is it Stathis or Stathis?
It's Stathis, but I mean, you know.
Isn't Stathis from like Ghostbusters, or I feel like that's like a Biodome
Ray's name?
I feel like the bad guy, like William Atherton in Ghostbusters, was Stathis, but
I don't know. You're wrong.
I don't think
okay,
so. I think
you're just wrong.
Maybe it was close to it, but I think of my multiple viewings of seeing that as a child, I would have freaked out and been like, "Dad, what the hell is this?"
And you've been like, "Shut up, son."
Yeah,
I might be mixing it up with Bogus Journey because there's like Station.
Station. Wait, is that what
it's Chris Station?
The alien.
Station.
I never understood that fucking character. What is Station?
What are you talking
why
about?
Why is his name Station?
He's an alien.
Yeah, but why is his name Station?
There's also two of them.
Yeah, there's two of them that combine together to make one. What the fuck is there? Why?
I don't care for that. I don't like that character.
What do you mean you don't like that character?
It doesn't need to be in there.
That's sick, dude.
Yeah, but I don't know why he's called Station. So I'm like,
well, I bet you. When's the last time you saw that? Is that the second one? Is that Bogus or is that?
Yeah, that's the good sequel.
Actually, I saw Bogus Journey recently.
Not the shitty garbage new sequel that Adam thought was like really good.
I did not. You did.
Did you think it? What did you?
No, I didn't.
What did you think?
He told me he liked it and enjoyed it, and
it was all right.
You know what?
That's not true.
But look. In today's day and age, like honestly, are you gonna get a great Bill and Ted's?
No, nothing's good anymore.
I thought that it was pretty good for what they could actually produce. Because
they didn't even have the princesses. Give me a break. It's garbage. But let's move on. Let's move on. We're not talking.
Okay, you're right. We're right. We're not.
Oh yeah, the daughters.
I
forgot about that.
Wait, no, it was the chick from
Diane Franklin. Okay, from the first one is a great princess, and she should have been in it. So
I remember it being like, oh, they didn't bring her back. That's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
For this movie that was all like, made sure to have more women in it and like people of color and stuff. You know what I mean? Like an agency made, like management company made movie.
Yeah.
And then who played the new George Carlin?
They didn't bring back those older women. They're like, okay, we don't need those.
Wait, yeah. How much?
Carlin?
Well, George Carlin's dead.
Right. Who played his daughter?
Oh, Christian Schwal,
right.
Who is also
Christian
Norbit.
Very good one.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
He's the master of segue into the movie.
Dude, she's in so many things now. Like, it's funny. I saw her recently in
it's pretty funny.
The vampire TV show. What We Do in the Shadows?
Everybody's in that.
Dude, I love that show. That I didn't think. I don't know. It's cool. It's great. It's like they can get away with stuff because they're vampires.
All right. And you find that intriguing?
I mean, they can get away with like social, is the word's not faux pas.
Can they get away with things?
But they do, as far as it being on a TV
Chris,
show.
let me ask you something. Go. Is there a sex scene where an obese vampire is dressed like a slave and jumps and runs on top of a Abraham Lincoln vampire, crushing him?
I mean, that sounds like awesome. Something that I would have seen in that show. Yes.
Is there a restaurant run by pimps with hoes cooking the barbecue?
Good stuff.
Oh, yes. Yes, there definitely is.
There definitely is not. It's all in Norbit. It's all in Norbit. Norbit is.
Oh, you've been talking about Norbit.
Norbit is a dangerous movie.
Oh,
really?
That's my thoughts.
You think it's boundary pushing?
Yeah. Are you kidding? How this movie got made makes no sense. So doing some research, what I found out is that like the initial germ of the idea was obese black women on talk shows beating skinny guys and like watching like fight videos online, and
like Springer type stuff, like
Springer, Maury, also World Star kind of stuff, and
yeah.
They wanted it to be this like edgy movie, but it then turned into like a Clumps, almost like.
What do you mean? What do you mean they wanted it to be an edgy movie?
Charlie Murphy and Eddie Murphy wanted it to be edgy and R-rated. It was like shot to be R-rated.
Really? Wait, so when they shot it, because there is not a lot of for it to be a black movie, there's no M-bombs in it. There's not a lot of it feels very PG-13 to me for 2000 and
correct.
Not like, did they film it and cut it, or did they rewrite everything before it?
I think it was a slow process. And somewhere along the way, they were like, we need to make it like, let's go for PG-13.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's a family film.
I have an interview with Tandy Newton, who plays the love interest, Kate.
It's pronounced Tandy, actually.
Is it?
You mean the chick from fucking Westworld?
Is it actually pronounced Tandy, Adam?
I don't know.
No.
Is it the chick from Westworld? That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, the chick from Westworld. She's in Beloved. She's in Truth About Charlie. She's an Oscar-nominated actress.
She turns in good work here.
Can I tell you something? I was thoroughly impressed with her accent. Like, I was like, wait a minute. Like, what's going? This is, and it took me a while, but I was like, this is her, right? This is totally her. But her accent is American, but not, I don't know. It's like bubbly, but not, I don't know.
So more gushing praise.
Actress. Everybody acted pretty great in this movie.
Stathis is a big fan of Norbit.
I think the performances are really good.
They are.
Dude,
Eddie Murphy is always really good in these, honestly.
Dude, okay, real quick. How many people because I had no idea how many people Eddie Murphy was going to play in this one, but I knew it was after like the whole thing where he was going to play a bunch of characters. How many characters did you think he was going to play beginning? And then by the end of the movie, how many did you think that he had done?
You've only played 3 characters.
That's a good question.
I know, because you looked it up on IMDb.
No, afterwards. I can tell who he is. I mean,
did you think it was the
Chinese guy?
Chick? No, I knew it was the Chinese guy.
I didn't know that he played Rasputia.
Rasputia is her name. I couldn't tell because from shot to shot, her body looked different.
Let's go through all the characters.
Yes. Well, yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Because
I have a lot to say about her body.
We have, so the first main character Eddie's playing is Norbit, who is like his Bowfinger kind of character. Yeah. Also with elements of the Nutty Professor when he's like
Sherman.
Yeah. He's like very sensitive. He talks kind of quiet and nerdy. He's
it's kind of like his water boy.
Yes.
Dude, that's exactly what it is. That's the equivalent. That's the Adam Sandler equivalent. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's kind of Adam Sandler.
There's a lot of Adam Sandler influence in this. There's also a lot of Mike Myers influence. There's a lot of like Austin Powers, kind of like Fat Bastard.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Playing all those characters.
Yeah.
It's definitely of that era.
They should do like an Avengers sort of movie with all these comedians in fat suits playing their Fat Bastard, Big Mama, Rasputia. Or Eddie Murphy can play every character, every clump, and Rasputia. And
wait, who else would it be? Would it be Eddie Murphy? It would be Mike Myers.
And
it's hell of an Avengers
and
movie.
Big Mama.
Big. You mean Martin Lawrence?
Yeah, Martin Lawrence.
But Martin Lawrence isn't actually overweight.
That's true. Yeah, Martin Lawrence is playing a cop.
He's undercover in the Avengers.
Yeah,
because Fat Bastard and Rasputia are technically villains.
So yes. That's interesting.
Let's move on from the worst Mad TV pitch of all time. So, Mr. Wong is played by Eddie Murphy. I think this is the best performance in the movie.
It's very tender. Surprisingly tender.
It is by the end.
This movie is surprisingly tender.
I think I don't know if he really pulls off being Chinese, but what he does is he pulls off being old.
Yeah, he does.
The physicality of Eddie's performances, all of them, and they're so wildly different. I've I rewatched the family scenes in the two Nutty Professor movies, and just his character work is unparalleled.
But he is reusing characters, right? Like, isn't there a bit of the father in Rasputia with like the head turn and like getting mad all the time?
Yeah, totally. Those scenes are fucking incredible, by the way. The dinner table scenes of the family. It's like this overlapping dialogue, and like it's like this really naturalistic sounding conversation. It's like a Cassavetes movie, but Eddie Murphy's playing all of them in fat suits.
Well, that's exactly what it is. So that's.
I remember seeing that in the theaters, and it killed.
Dude, I remember seeing that in the theaters too, and it killed. That
scene specifically, yeah.
Specifically.
We saw that in the theater. Why didn't we see Norbit in the theater?
I think it was too late. When I think we were all burned out on Eddie in fat suits because he did
the Clumps.
He did what?
The Clumps is like the peak of it. He should have done Norbit after Nutty Professor, before the Clumps.
Yeah, but maybe it wasn't written yet.
He did.
Well, what I'm saying is, it would be like, it's like that world or like cinematic universe building that Marvel does so well. You know what I mean? You have to like pace out the morsels.
Eddie should have figured that shit out first.
But isn't
he was very close to figuring it out.
Norbit is kind of him trying to recapture the Clumps.
Yeah. That's the problem, is the Clumps is the peak of what he can do in that.
It's already over.
Anybody can do in that.
What year did the Clumps come out?
Like early 2000s.
Okay.
Like
because it came out on 9/11.
Maybe after Dr. Dolittle.
Because 2009, oh really? Dr.
2000, yeah.
Huge. 2000, because 2009, that's almost a decade later. That it does feel like, is that the last time we saw Eddie Murphy really do anything? And then was he like, okay.
Well, here's the interesting thing is that in 2008, he also made Dreamgirls, and he was nominated for an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. And they say the reason he didn't win the Oscar is because Norbit was released in theaters at the time. And it's called pulling a Norbit. It's like you're in a movie so bad that you lose your award.
That's fucked up. Also, like, very unfair of Norbit, for people to judge Norbit so harshly. It's like kind of not in good faith, I think.
But
I mean, the movie is kind of tasteless. I mean,
yeah. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I agree. That's why. But dude, that's why I think I laughed so hard at certain moments, because I'm not sure if I had seen it when it came out, I probably would have been like, oh yeah, this isn't very good, blah, 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 blah. But in the world we live in now,
it's impossible to be made.
It's impossible to be made, but it's not only that, it's like really I forget that they just go there. Yeah, they just go.
They really go for it. So
they go for it on everything. And I don't know if I'm laughing so hard at the fact that I'm like, oh, it's unexpected because I didn't expect them to go that hard for it, or if it's because it's legitimately funny, or a little bit of both. I don't know.
Well, the other thing is like, it's
very interesting.
While it is cool they're going for it, and that's novel to see now, a lot of movies back then were going for it. I mean, Tropic Thunder came out the same year.
Yeah,
so like if you had seen Tropic Thunder like a month before, and then you watch Norbit, you'd be like, well, this is the kind of shit they were making fun of with Jack Black's character.
Yeah, the fatties.
And also Robert Downey Jr. being in blackface and fully transforming into a black character is like more amazing than anything in Norbit. Not to take away from Eddie Murphy or the makeup, but
right.
Yeah.
It's just like there was a lot of movies that went for it back then.
Yeah.
That were pretty extreme and like pretty crazy, and like Hangover is like around that time. And I feel like The Hangover is the one movie that really, when you compare it to Norbit, it shows like the big differences in the styles, because the biggest weakness of Norbit is the directing and the aesthetic of the movie, because everything looks fake. Everything looks like a set. Everything
takes place in like any town, USA.
Well, can I challenge that for a second?
Let me just say one thing. And the last thing is The Hangover has this very real gritty feeling.
Yeah.
And everything was like shot on location in real casinos. And not to say that movie isn't ridiculous, but yeah, go on.
I agree 100% with what you're talking about. but that's one of the things that honestly, looking at it now, I kind of liked is it did feel fakey. It felt like I was watching a live action cartoon. Like that's what it felt like. And I kind of didn't mind it. If I had watched it at the time, you're right. After watching like a Hangover or something like that, I would have been like, oh, this is kind of cheesy, blah, blah, blah.
Feels like it's for kids or something, you know?
It feels like it's for kids.
Because of that.
Let me give an example of this kind of aesthetic. Mm-hmm. So there's a scene when they're children. Eddie Murphy's in love with this girl, Kate. They talk about how they do everything together. They even poop together. And then they cut to a room, like a set they built with little toilets. And there's no dividing of any of the toilets. And it's like they built an entire set for one shot of two kids pooping on their own little toilet together. And it's like, I just feel like that's the kind of shit they're doing all the time where they're like, we're going to build this thing. We're going to shoot it this way. And then when you finally see it, it's like,
but you have a bathroom with 2 child-sized toilets, William.
Dude,
well, yeah, one is for
build one of those up.
I eat my dinner out of one of them.
But so you're saying it's like a little bit forced, or it's more than a little bit?
Or just like they don't care about real. Like
it doesn't feel real, and it's like the other thing is there's cartoony. So many. It makes everything somewhat weird that you're like, okay, I know Rasputin's weird, Norbit's weird, but also the room is weird. Everything is weird, and I'm kind of feeling the comedy is getting lost because I think it's also very challenging when you have he's acting against himself. So it's like you're kind of not serving him by making the directing this bad. I mean, the director, I don't like.
Okay, wait, let me
go over some of the director's movies. Okay, like this guy started out on Head of the Class, that TV show from the 80s.
Okay.
That's produced a lot of really talented
Robin Givens, Dan Schneider was his friend.
Showrunners. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Dan Schneider is a notorious Nickelodeon character. So Brian Robbins and Dan Schneider.
Is that the guy that?
Wait, why are you like being vague?
Is that the guy?
I'm moving on. I'm talking. Okay. So they went to work at Nickelodeon. Brian Robbins created all that. I don't really know what Dan Schneider, I guess, worked on that too or helped create it. But like they started making TV shows for Nickelodeon. Mm-hmm. Eventually, Brian Robbins directs Good Burger. That's his first movie. He directs Varsity Blues.
I thought Dan Schneider directed Good Burger.
No, he's in Good Burger.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
silly
okay, Adam.
Sorry.
But yeah, so on. But then
piece of shit.
Oh, he's the big fat guy.
Yes, he's the big fat guy that apparently likes feet.
Oh yeah,
and apparently likes. Apparently, there's a rumor that he got Jamie Lynn Spears pregnant when she was 17. Whoa. And that's he's the father. That's the rumor allegedly that I read.
That big fat guy banged Jamie Lynn Spears when she was what, 16 or something?
Yeah, like this is like
beat to it.
He got me too. He's not in the business anymore. He got Me Too'd out of existence. He has all these allegations.
But isn't that a recent Me Too situation? Like it didn't.
Yeah,
really come out
it's not
a couple years ago.
It's still up for debate. Just kidding.
Your face, Adam, is hilarious.
But now Brian Robbins,
kidding face,
the director of Norbit, he is going to be the head of Paramount Pictures.
No fucking way.
He worked his way up from Head of the Class to creator of all that, director of Norbit. He also directed Meet Dave, 1,000 Words, a bunch of shitty Eddie Murphy movies, and then now he's head of Paramount Pictures, and their new mantra or their new like business plan is to just make streaming entertainment less in movies that are like franchises or like.
Well, is it
just like less focus on theatrical, basically?
Well, studios have been like making fewer theatrical movies. I feel like than they like over the years.
Yeah, because they don't make as much money.
Fewer bigger ones. They make them. It's bigger but there's less of them.
Yeah, that's a dumb plan.
Maybe it's like another progression of that.
Well, it's just a terrible plan because here's the thing: Netflix is the competition now. Okay.
Yep.
Netflix makes like what, a movie a week, a TV show a week.
Or something like that.
So it's like you need to go really big if you're going to compete with Netflix. I don't know if
but not everything on Netflix is good. A lot of it's shit.
Of course.
Netflix is so bad. I feel like,
but you have to compete with them. You have to basically have to produce as much shit as Netflix to actually compete with Netflix.
Well,
that's my grand theory.
Okay. I agree and I disagree because Apple, it's not great, right? But Ted Lasso is pretty good. And if they could actually make 2 Ted Lassos, like whatever the equivalent is,
dude, imagine the possibilities.
I mean, I feel like yeah, but I mean, with just Apple's reach with all their other shit, and they give it away for like a year, people will be like, yeah, I'll continue to subscribe for Apple's Ted Lasso.
Apple's doing the new Scorsese movie. You know, like they're going big. They have a ton of money to burn, and they're bigger. I mean, Paramount is going small. That's what I'm saying. Paramount is going.
They? Okay.
Yes.
I don't know what is the Paramount streaming network?
Paramount Plus.
Is it Paramount Plus? Because it seems like everything has a plus after.
It is.
Yes. Not a lot of buzz on that. So
I don't know if you guys have seen Heels, by the way, on Stars, but I'm going to put a plug in right there. You should check it out.
Whit and I actually are watching Paramount Plus a lot right now because we're watching Laguna Beach, the MTV show.
What?
Don't you live in Laguna Beach?
Yeah.
Why? Oh, is that what? Okay. All right. That's
so we're like, let's check it out. And now we're hooked.
That's the only thing. That's the only reason why I'm going to pause myself from giving you just copious amounts of shit to eat right now.
I'm not ashamed.
Because yeah, well, you live there, so okay, I get it.
The show is fantastic.
Who's in Laguna Beach? It's MTV.
Lauren Conrad, right?
Kids.
Isn't that her?
Yeah, man, she sucks on the show.
Well, if you ever go to Adam's house or hang out with Adam, you're going to be watching a lot of shitty reality television. It's
Whitney. It's my wife. She's the one that does it. I mean, I enjoy the programming sometimes. Not gonna lie.
Okay, that's fair. I mean,
last time I hung out with them, they watched like 3 hours of Love Island.
Jesus, that wasn't at my house. Okay.
Nevertheless, go with the bit. So anyway.
Well, like I'm being besmirched.
Mendoza.
Laguna Beach. What year is this? Isn't that like 20 years old?
We live here.
Great question. When did Laguna Beach? Wasn't that like high school?
It's like 2000. Yeah, it was like 2003 or 4. It's actually Whitney's the same. Graduated the same year as all of them. So it's basically Whitney's life.
Hey man,
good stuff. Yeah.
Get married. Just sit around, watch the same reality shows from when you're in college.
Well, we didn't watch it back then. Jesus, it's just something we're throwing it on.
You're revisiting the classics. Okay, I understand. I get it.
How many times did you watch Norbit?
Once.
I
started a couple of weeks ago. I watched a half an hour. I was like, I'll save this for the podcast. And then I finished it.
Just go along with the
Here's the thing that fucked me. The first half hour has all the funniest stuff. The last hour of this movie is dreadful.
What? Okay, how did you even decide that?
Me as a viewer, as a critic.
Yeah, I thought it was all great. I watched it all. I was stone sober the whole time. I laughed out loud, dude. I laughed out loud. I would say, I'm not joking. You laughed out loud where I went at least that much. That's not how I laugh, but it's pretty close.
Like Mickey Mouse. Yeah.
I think when the love triangle. When the love triangle starts, the movie kind of grinds to a halt.
Yeah. Well,
and it changes, and the plot, and I kind of felt like, I'm like, where's the plot going? Mm-hmm. There's no real time limit. I mean, I know the wedding thing is coming up. Like Norbit is trying to stop the wedding between Tandy Newton and her husband, Cuba Gooding Jr.
Cuba. Mm-hmm.
And I just wait real quick. At any point, did you think Cuba Gooding Jr. was played by Eddie Murphy?
No.
Okay, just checking.
The other thing is, I like read a lot of movie reviews, so I had read Norbit reviews, so I knew already what Norbit, or like who Eddie Murphy was playing.
Tell Stathis and the audience about the Leonard Maltin thing.
Ooh. So Richard Brody, the critic for the second critic for the New Yorker, he praised Norbit to death. He loves Norbit. He thinks it's one of Eddie Murphy's best performances.
Oh yes,
Which one?
He also praised a movie that bombed, or there's a movie that came out or didn't come out that he wrote a review for, saying this is a travesty. The movie's actually really good, which is Gentlemen Broncos. That like
I've seen that. I like
I like that movie too, and I watched it because of his endorsement.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
So I was like, I'll give him a chance on Norbit, but I feel like he is a little misguided with his review, because one of the things he says by the end is like, this movie should turn how you do it into a national catchphrase. And like Rasputia keeps saying like, how you doing? And I'm like,
that's her like catchphrase throughout the movie. Or she says it like, how you doing?
Get that.
Are you kidding? She says it like
how you
so much by the end of the movie.
That's what she does.
She says it in Mexico in Spanish.
Yeah.
Saying it over and over again. That
catchphrase.
Dude, I didn't even pick up on that until you guys said it. That makes sense though.
It just doesn't. It's just a very bizarre. It doesn't make sense. Like she doesn't need a catchphrase.
No, it ruined the movie for me. Like completely. Like I hate the movie by the end of it because of that catchphrase. And also it's like that's Joey's catchphrase from Friends.
Yeah.
So it's very hacked.
Yeah, it's very weird. Yeah. But there is some good stuff in this movie. Like that montage where she's like running and like diving on him after their wedding night or whatever.
The first half hour.
Yeah.
The sex. What about the Golden Wonton Orphanage? Like just the name of that. I love it. Okay, I guess that was in the front part. Yeah.
Chinese restaurant. It's a Chinese restaurant and orphanage.
Yeah, the first 10 minutes, like the prologue or whatever, it's kind of emotional.
Oh, I felt feelings during this.
It's like the first 10 minutes of Up. It's very similar to Up.
All right.
It's a ripoff of Forrest Gump. It's just a complete rehash of Forrest Gump.
What? He doesn't.
And it's not emotional. And also, like, it's the same relationship between Forrest and Jenny. It's not. They just completely lifted it. It's a parody of that. Now, the thing I like is
I don't know about that.
A Chinese restaurant and orphanage is very inspired.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of joke I like in the movie, because it's like, this is coming from Charlie Murphy. It's like Charlie Murphy was in Chappelle's show, is basically responsible for their most famous sketch, Rick James.
Well, and the Prince one.
And the Prince one. But like, it's like, oh, I was like excited. I'm like, oh, Charlie Murphy and Eddie Murphy wrote this. This is going to be like edgy. This is going to be like really, this is going to be like old Eddie Murphy,
I bet you in an earlier draft or whatever, I feel like they might've changed it, but like, it's funny.
100%.
It's funny if
it was hilarious.
Well, no, I'm saying it's like, it's funny if the Chinese restaurant / orphanage, if it's like all the kids are working in the restaurant.
I'm sure they had jokes like that.
That should have been, I think that's like the original. It seems like where that would come from.
That seems way more on the nose. I mean, not on the nose.
Well, that's like
on.
Otherwise it's like kind of, I like it, but it's like kind of random. What's the payoff for that? Except for him just doing a Chinese guy.
There's a lot of
which is a good payoff. Like,
Kristen Shaw, in her scene, she runs a kissing booth in the town square, and the two pimps of the town, who are the Greek chorus, played by Eddie Griffin and Cat Williams, they say they want their money, like they want a piece of the business because she's hoeing, without their on their turf. Yeah. And then at the end, Kristen Shaw's like, "I want to be a hoe," and I was hoping like maybe there'd be another scene where she was a hoe later on. But
that teed it up for something payoff, great. Yeah. They probably filmed something.
Now, the other thing I read is that it took Eddie Murphy 12 hours to do Rasputia's makeup with the full bodysuit. With the full bodysuit. Well, I imagine the facial one is less time.
How do you do that as an actor?
You get paid millions of dollars to make a movie.
But like, how do you do you film for...
You wake up at midnight
or something like that, but like you need to sleep and stuff too.
Maybe it was
hard.
Get over
10 hours.
Get over it. Okay, first of all, you have to understand is that it's not 12 hours every day.
Yeah,
that's the one thing I deduced. It's no way he's doing 12 hours of makeup every day.
Not every day. No.
That's what you're saying.
Because they're shooting for at least 12 hours, I'm sure.
That's the information I read.
Okay, maybe not 12.
But like he's definitely like on the full. It has to be for full body shots during certain sequences.
I see.
I'll tell you this. What I noticed is because when they were at the water park, the body, it had to have been a body double because
Correct.
there were stretch marks, there was everything, and I was
it's a woman's body.
This is
the belly,
this is a woman's body, but
you could see his face pasted on top.
I thought it was
during
pretty good
those
CGI.
sequences.
I thought it was good CGI. I couldn't really tell the difference. I thought the shots they chose were pretty good, but then later on, sometimes you would see him like doing something as the fat, as her, and he had a little too much like athleticism in the body. And then you could see if you looked at her legs were like a little puffy, like in the clothes, like it wasn't real fat. It was like whatever. And I was like, there we go. There's the suit.
They're like leggings. They're like,
like thick leggings. Yeah.
Yeah. So that they kind of cheat around per every scene, because when you think about it logistically, how difficult it is that he has to do the Norbit scenes, which require makeup. And then he has to do the Rasputia scenes that require even more makeup. So shooting every scene in this movie
took a long time.
It was probably a logistical nightmare. And I think that kind of is hurting the comedy, because when Eddie Griffin and Cat Williams show up in a scene, they can just rattle jokes and they crush it every time. And
they did a great job, dude. Like both of them playing off each other. And Cat Williams to me is a little bit of annoying fuck. And he just kind of played. Oh, I just mean maybe it's more of a recent version of him. But like the way he just complimented, like Eddie was like, yes, and. And then he got out a couple lines that were like, he crushed some line that was extremely long that I was thinking as an actor, I was like, God, I probably would have fucked that up a couple times saying it. It was so specific and so well done. He did a great job.
There's one scene where Rasputin's at a bounce house and throws a little white girl out of the bounce house, and then there's like little white girls landing in a haystack, and then the two pimp guys are like,
white girls.
Oh yeah,
they're raining little white women, and it's like not really women, they're children. He's like, the Lord heard my prayers.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
What? It was kind of weird, but it was 2009, and then Eddie says, well, she better watch out because I just prayed for a Cadillac or something like that.
Yeah. But look, it's true. They're good. And also Cat Williams is basically supporting Eddie Griffin, who you could tell has the bigger role. So it's like, it's like a young, eager Cat Williams. Who's trying to make a good impression.
It's like they gave him, it's almost like they only needed one character there, but they were like, we really like Cat and we want to help him out. Let's make a secondary character here to like support each other. I don't know if that's true, but it felt like that could have been one character. The jokes couldn't have been the same because they couldn't have played off each other.
Chris, that's wild speculation.
That is wild speculation. I shouldn't be doing.
Well, it's also like,
it's reckless of you.
That is reckless.
It's funny because
pee real quick. I'll be right back, but I'll be listening.
Okay.
They keep saying they're former pimps, but they're never former pimps. They're constantly doing pimp activity.
Yeah, they're pimping. Maybe that's the joke about pimps is like they're always like, I'm gotta quit. I'm quitting this. You know, pimping's too hard, but they can't.
Too hard.
Pimping is too hard. So it's pimps talk about.
Is that the name of your rap album?
Yeah.
The story of the depressed pimp who doesn't want to pimp. It's too hard.
Too hard. God, I want to stay in bed. I don't want to pimp. Mondays, meet other pimps in the pimp office.
Do you think a lot of pimps commit suicide?
Hell no. No fucking chance, dude. Pimps love their lives.
Imagine
I was kidding.
A pimp hanging.
Look, pimping is hard, but it's worth it. It's very rewarding.
Pimping ain't easy, yeah.
It's a rewarding profession.
Just a pimp hanging in his
take it from me, the depressed pimp.
Now, who said this was their favorite movie of all time?
Who's that?
Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys.
I swear to God, you said Brian Wilson, and I was like, which fucking Brian Wilson? Obviously not of the Beach Boys. What the fuck are you talking about? Where did you get this information?
It came up in an interview. Now, here's the thing. When you think about it, he has a lot of parallels to the character of Norbit. He's a very sensitive person who's very shy. Yep. He was often taken advantage.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah.
Yep.
And
this is like Brian Wilson's.
He had signed contracts that were unfair.
Oh, shit.
Holy shit.
And like the three brothers that abuse him, you know, like with Rasputin's brothers, like Mike Love and him have beef, you know, his father
was a real abuser, right?
The father was a real abuser who sold all of their record rights for like 10 grand or something, or like $160,000 in 1970. So all the classic Beach Boys music was sold for 160 grand, like 60 years ago. And all that money they never got. So,
that's awesome.
But wait, did they buy it back? Did they buy that publishing back? Whatever happened with that?
Murray Wilson? No, I don't think so.
That's very Rasputia-like behavior. From Brian Wilson's dad.
Can I tell you something interesting, like a side note on something very similar to that? I'm going to anyway. You just stop me. Tell me to shut the fuck up.
Just talk.
I'm going to, but it's not about the fucking movie, bro. So that's an interesting thing. You shut your fucking mouth and just let me talk.
I want you to. I'm waiting.
So it makes me curious if that made the Beach Boys more popular, because I was talking to my dad, right? And my dad said that we were listening to some music and we were listening to the Dave Clark 5. And I don't know if you guys have heard of the Dave Clark 5, but they've got a lot of sweet fucking songs that sound very similar to Beatles songs. And he's like, yeah, you know, the Dave Clark 5 were actually just as popular or more popular than the Beatles when they came out. But Dave Clark 5 owned all their own publishing. And right, like today you hear like, that's a smart thing. You should own your own publishing and whatnot. But the thing was, the Beatles didn't own their own publishing and got, you know, there's things where like Michael Jackson ended up buying them all this shit, but all these other entities ended up owning their shit. So those entities essentially pushed for them to be more in the public sphere, making the Beatles as popular as they were. Like if the Beatles actually owned their own publishing, there's a chance that they would not be the Beatles we know today, because they wouldn't be as popular, kind of like the Dave Clark 5. And I'm curious if that has if that's any kind of correlation to the Beach Boys. Like the Beach Boys own their own
here's
stuff.
The result of that kind of scenario.
Yeah, tell me.
You're pushed to sell more hit singles.
Mm-hmm.
When you are part of a corporate committee, and there are many people saying all they will be telling you is more number one hit songs.
But if you've already written
more number one hit songs, keep putting out. Every song on your album needs to be a number one hit song. That's what they'll push. If you own your own music, then you're going to be kind of doing Beatles solo albums, which are
that's Wings and all that stuff. But what I'm talking about is it's like they had already had all the hits, and then the publishing got pushed for commercials and stuff like that after they'd already written all the hits. It wasn't like they were under. Does that make sense? I don't know, dude. Fucking let's get back to Norbit.
Some people like corporate singles that aren't. Some people like hits. I don't know. It's like, what do hardcore fans like? That's the difference. It's like you have two kinds of fans, right? You have like hardcore fans who actually follow everything about the band, like
Radiohead. You like hits. Everybody.
Like I like Radiohead. Radiohead owns all the music.
You're one of them. You like radio. Okay, wait.
Well, they
What's
like all
your favorite Radiohead album?
I mean, I like OK Computer, of course.
Oh, OK Computer is great. It is.
So they own all their music, right? They do. They put their albums out at a pace that they feel comfortable doing.
Yeah,
and they're kind of like they have no appeal to anyone else besides hardcore fans anymore. There's no.
That's true.
No one cares about new Radiohead that isn't really into Radiohead. Whereas if they were pushing hits all the time, they would be trying to get new, younger fans.
It'd be like getting into like yoga and shit.
As a hardcore fan, I might not like the new stuff they're doing. I'd be like Weezer, where I'm like, I don't like this new shit Weezer does. Okay,
Weezer is.
That's the difference.
Bag. Yeah.
So Weezer is constantly Weezer's going for the new crowd all the time. And I don't really listen to their albums anymore.
Nobody does. But Radiohead's what is it? Pablo Honey.
Great album.
It's a great album, but it gets pushed because there's hits on that, right? That's yes. Where Creep came from. That's where, and so it was already on there. And then, but from there, they were able to ride their shit, and then they came Karma.
Do you know the origin of the name Pablo Honey?
I have no idea.
It's from the first Jerky Boys album. It's when the gay character goes Pablo Honey, and that's what they named their. That's what they named their album after.
That's so much cooler than anything else because it's so random. Like, there's no way any like indie rock, like fucking, whatever, the generic person that listens to Radiohead. No offense, bro. Not you. You're cooler than all.
Well, you know what their new album's called?
What is it called now? Is it? No,
How you doing?
Is it
from Norbit?
Oh, they did it. They took it from Norbit.
That's a bit. I get it.
But let's get back to Norbit. All right.
Let's do.
Remember the part of Norbit where Rasputia tells Eddie Murphy that she's pregnant to like keep him?
Yeah.
Or tells Norbit. Sorry, excuse me. Of course.
Yeah, that's what you
playing
said.
both of characters. And then she's like, let it slip a little bit later that she's not pregnant, and she's like, "Well, I thought you were pregnant." She's like, "Oh, I just had gas."
Yeah, and then she
farts, and she goes, "There's your child."
I think I wrote that down as
that's such a good line.
I loved that. I laughed out loud real hard during that, and I was like, I would not laugh at that in 2009, but
I didn't like that.
You would have been like, "That's wrong."
No, I would have just been like, "Oh, that's easy." I would have been arrogant. I would have been comedy arrogant about it.
That's kind of something that I don't like about the Jack Black thing in Tropic Thunder is the way it makes fun of the clumps. Is like,
but it's almost so good.
It's funny, but it's funny. I'm sure it's not like that. I don't know. It's hard to know. It's like a little bit like hip comedy making fun of like broad.
Let's be honest. The character he's making fun of is Owen Wilson. Owen Wilson is a heroin addict. Now, Owen Wilson isn't making stupid
he's talking
movies.
About no. He's talking
about the fatties.
I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. So what he, but if he was playing, now Owen Wilson's a guy who takes himself very seriously.
No, in real life.
What are you talking about?
Well, he was like making compared to Eddie Murphy.
I'm talking to William.
Like Drillbit Taylor. Well, not Drillbit Taylor, but like, he was making Royal Tenenbaums.
Yeah. But what are you talking about? We're talking about
the clumps, or not the clumps, the
fatties.
The fatties and the poop. Does anyone want a poo platter? And he's like farting. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I don't know. I feel like those are unfair.
I'm saying what he's doing in that movie is combining Eddie Murphy, who made the clumps. The fatties is clearly an Eddie Murphy reference, but then he's a heroin addict. And that's
the dining room
Owen Wilson. That's an Owen Wilson reference because it's based on their friend Owen Wilson, who was a heroin addict.
How do you know it wasn't? Yeah. How do you know it wasn't like a Robert Downey mixed with an Owen Wilson and Owen Wilson thing? But isn't that like that's like a generic?
I know
thing,
something.
like
Robert Downey is
I know something. Listen. I know something about what we're talking about.
Oh shit.
Owen Wilson. He was gonna play. He was gonna play
the agent. Played by Matthew McConaughey. But he tried to kill himself.
Yeah. He OD'd on heroin, I thought.
No, didn't he try maybe he did both. Did he kill himself? He's not going to kill himself.
He's fucking Owen Wilson.
No, he tried to kill himself.
Well,
he tried to kill himself by.
Well, he was pimping and the game was too hard. So he decided to kill himself.
I understand that, me being the depressed fan.
There's a famous story of him from at the time, a gossip story that
it's hard.
In page 6, a blind item that he met a girl to have a sexual hookup in New York. And she was very disturbed because all he did was like eat her asshole for like an hour.
Ew, dude, that's pooping.
That is disturbing. That's like he stops being pleasurable and then just starts getting creepy.
Was such a junkie that he couldn't get hard. So he just was like, I'm just going to eat her butt.
Damn.
He probably
he should have tried eating her pussy. Like she would have women aren't complaining about getting their pussy eaten for an hour. But anybody would be like, after 15 minutes of getting your butt eaten, you'd be like, what the fuck? This
probably
is
like the 4th woman that day that he had sex with. And he was just like, you know what?
He's talking about the act of eating getting your butt eaten for an hour.
Maybe she had a great butt.
That's a long hour.
Maybe that butt is.
But I'm saying from her end, she's like, who wants that done to them?
I've never had my butt eaten, and I don't ever want my butt.
Well, I'm saying that there's like a limit where, it's good or whatever, but like it's
okay.
Imagine if Chris hooked up with Candy Newton. He's like, oh, what? You're in Westworld. And like you're smoking cigarettes outside a bar. Yeah. And then you end up going home with her, and then she just eats your asshole for an hour, and you're just like,
and you're like, this is weird.
If it was her, I would let her eat my butthole. I don't know.
Maybe I haven't had my butthole eaten for an hour. So I don't know. Maybe it feels good. William, I feel like is giving me, William's giving me a knowing smile. Like a smile at a no.
How much butthole eating can you take, Adam?
Yeah.
As much as you got. It's like an all-you-can-eat buffet. Like,
are you eating? You're getting your butthole eaten?
No, my butthole is going to the buffet, and it's a tongue buffet.
So how long
is the buffet?
My butthole is the customer, and the buffet is a bunch of tongues.
Oh, a bunch of tongues.
No, the buffet is your ass.
I get it.
Okay,
it's not a perfect metaphor. I'll admit that.
Okay. Wait, do you like your butthole eaten like all the time? Okay, so that's a yes.
He doesn't like it. His wife insists upon it.
Yeah. Me eating somebody else's butthole.
Oh, no, I don't believe that. I don't think Whitney.
Like the garbage man, the mailman.
What? Why are you just eating dudes' butts? Can't you eat chick butts?
Whitney points at them and I have to do it. So
joke, but what if Owen Wilson was so fucked up on heroin? He just was they're like, Owen Wilson spotted in New York City eating the garbage man's asshole behind the trash. And it's like a photo where it's where the garbage man is embarrassed. It's all zoomed in. And Owen Wilson's hair is all disheveled.
Of course it is. When is it not disheveled? It's elegantly disheveled.
All right. It's tousled.
We need to ram through anything else in Norbit that's worth talking about.
Keep us in line. Yeah.
Respucia's car.
Oh yeah.
That car is fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah. Also,
she's very fat and the car is very small and it's very hard to fit in. And that's
the outside of the car. The outside. Cool. It's it's
one of the jokes I did not enjoy.
I'm not saying the joke. Here's my question.
Here's technically, I loved when she would get in and would hit him. That was so confusing to me when I was first watching the movie, and I was like, wait, he's playing both of them, right?
The visual effects are very good in that.
The visual effects were amazing for some of the stuff. I was like, how? And I thought it lined up incredibly well for some of the dialogue.
One thing Tandy Newton said was that she's like, I guess I spent half the time with one of Eddie Murphy's stand-ins, which makes me think that he was so exhausted that instead of doing his reverse shot, the behind over the shoulder of him with her talking, he's just like, I'm going to go in my trailer.
He's in makeup. Yeah. He might be in makeup.
Oh,
no, he's probably resting.
There's probably overlap where they're shooting other things without him or other angles of a scene while he's getting makeup.
Because he's probably also producing and getting shit fucking thrown at him.
Yeah.
His brother's coming up to him while he's getting makeup on. We got to rewrite this shit.
Oh yeah. Something else I want to bring up.
He's like, I don't have any time. It's a very stressful time for Eddie Murphy.
Remember Eddie Murphy got in trouble because he had a transgender prostitute in his car?
Really?
Yeah, he was getting a blowjob
from a transgender prostitute.
No, he went somewhere. No, that was Hugh Grant who was getting the blowjob. He was just caught driving one home, and he just said, "I was just giving the lady a ride."
Right. And
there's a lot of rumors of Eddie Murphy being in the closet.
Well, here's the thing. Do you think that when you get to, he at least was of the fame level, that when you are able to have sex with almost anything that moves, do you start getting curious about other things that move? That's what
Owen Wilson certainly did. He ate a garbage man's ass. Now the thing is, Eddie Murphy. What I'm alluding to is Eddie Murphy dressing up like a woman on screen and performing amazingly well and doing an amazing job at it.
He's Eddie Murphy,
But he is Eddie Murphy, dude. He can do almost anything. So you're saying that maybe there is a little bit of a drag queen within him anyway.
Yeah.
He plays the female, like in The Mother on the Clumps, not the grandma, but the mother. He plays like a very delicate, like woman.
But I mean,
and he plays also like a nuanced female, like performance. Like, you know what I mean? He's like,
yeah,
he's a great actor.
Well.
Yeah.
But
that's the tricky thing. It's hard to tell with him.
Well, dude, he's also impregnating tons of chicks, like even out of wedlock, right? Like, didn't he bang up Scary Spice?
He has like 4 kids with her, and then he has like 4 or 5 kids before her with his other wife. He has a lot.
He's got no less than 8 kids. He's got no less than 8.
That's cool.
Like, like I mean, he's constantly.
And also, if he's banging trans women back then, he's ahead of the curve.
Eddie Murphy has 10 children.
That's where we're at now. So good for
10
him.
children.
Yeah, good for him.
Wow. How do you pay for 10 children? Like, how much do children cost? Like $200,000? Like, if you're being cheap,
you have to be Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, I mean, he has two. Right? I looked up his net worth. He has 200 million.
Nobody poor has 10 kids.
He can give each kid. He can give each kid $20 million and
of course.
So you don't give
him that Shrek money.
What else we got on the movie that we need to talk about?
Money. I like how she runs over the dog. That couldn't fly today. And it was like,
I like that scene.
Well, the dog didn't die.
It wasn't good, but I like how they went for it. Where
Charlie Murphy is the voice of the dog later on, and he has a funny scene where he's like, "Kill the bitch. She ran me over, and I can't fuck no more."
Yeah,
I love banging. I wanted more Charlie Murphy in the movie. I was really hoping he'd play another character, but
Did you see Rob Hubel?
Yes.
Yeah.
He had one little scene that was cool. He's also in The Love Guru, which is another insane visual effects makeup kind of movie.
Yeah, I've never seen that because I heard it was so terrible, but I would like to watch it.
It's way worse than this. Like,
I had the pleasure.
But you should check out The Love Guru on YouTube. Watch clips. Like another reason I watched Norbit is I watched the clips of them at the Pimp barbecue restaurant, and I was like, "Oh, this is pretty funny." Is the movie funny? Is the whole movie going to be this funny and inventive? And like, I couldn't really remember it, but doesn't this plot seem like we've seen a million comedies with this plot where it's like the nerdy guy's going to marry the woman who he shouldn't marry, and then there's like the nice girl.
Yeah, of course.
What are the other movies that are like this? I couldn't think of them.
Every single movie that makes guys deluded into the fact that if they're a good guy, they can get the girl. So it's always like an
SNL. That's fucking bullshit.
Has Adam Sandler made a movie like this?
Such fucking bullshit.
Is this The Waterboy?
Yeah. I was actually going to say Saving Silverman.
Yeah. So that's one. I mean, it's every movie. It's every.
Adam's Family Values. Uncle Fester's marrying the wrong woman, but the family's trying to stop him.
Yeah. That's Saving Silverman. Damn. Same plot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of these. I mean, What's Up, Doc is one, but that's
Heartbreak Kid.
Yes, the Heartbreak Kid.
The original or the one with Ben Stiller?
Both have the same plot.
I guess you're right.
All right. So what do we want to say is the moral of the story? What's the message of the movie? And you don't have to have a real message, Adam. Adam always tries to go into a real message.
I don't want it to be the thing that I think it is, like the thing we just talked about.
It could be whatever you want.
Yeah. I think it is. I would like to think positively in a way. I think it's shoot your shot, man. Like at some point, Norbit's like, no, I'm married to this chick, but I'm like, no, I'm going to fucking spend some time with this chick and see if I can make this happen. Like, just go for it. It's
cheat on your wife.
It's just fuck around on your wife and just go find that hot puss.
First.
Yeah. But still, I think it's just like, go for it. Try not to
yeah, shoot your shot.
Don't be like Adam. People. Don't marry Rasputia.
My wife is not Rasputia.
She's definitely not Rasputia. She's way cooler.
She looks exactly like Rasputia.
I mean, Rasputia's a queen compared to Adam's wife. No offense. I mean, I hope I'm not talking out of turn. But
you are, sir. You're good, sir.
Oh shit.
Just kidding. Adams Cuba Gooding Jr. He's robbing his wife. He's stealing her money.
Yeah.
He's forcing her to sign contracts.
That's probably closer to the truth.
No, she actually forces me to sign contracts. That's actually true.
I believe it. Yeah, she probably.
So she's like, here, sign this. I'm like, all right.
She's got that Laguna Beach compound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To keep.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So
what else is a message besides cheat on your wife?
I love how you guys have just been fucking huffing pens this whole time. And I have not been able to smoke weed in like months, and I'm going crazy.
It's not legal in Virginia?
Dude, it's not yet technically, and there's no store around. So I've just been like, I've been drinking but like trying to like, drinking.
I know they want to make it legal in Washington, D.C., but they can't because it's federal.
No, it is in D.C. You can get it in D.C. But like,
how far are you from D.C.?
Like 4 hours, dude. I'm not gonna be a drug addict and fucking go up there and like, hey.
Dude, go on a little adventure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I will eventually.
Hijinks may ensue. Hijinks may ensue.
A pilgrimage. That means I've got a problem.
Go to your Mecca. Place where you just get weed. I think that there's a subtle layer of undercurrent throughout this movie of body positivity, a strong message of body positivity. And Rasputia is, she owns her body. She's a sexual being.
Okay.
Very sexual. And she's strong. And
I was
like the movie ends with her doing the flash dance thing.
I was going to say that's why this movie couldn't be made now, because so many people would be like, this is just making fun of fat people.
Yeah, they would. But
he made another movie where the family of fat people is called.
Now, do you think Monique could have played the role and been really good?
Oh yeah,
could have been good.
I'd be so pissed if I was Monique. This is like a perfect role for her.
You know what I mean?
Monique's not as fat as this character.
No.
But she could be fatter.
She could gain weight for the role.
You could put makeup on her. You could put the bodysuit on her.
Well, that's a question. Okay. Did you guys see something? I saw some headline recently that skinny actors were taking away roles from fat actors by wearing fat suits. Obviously, this is like one of those extreme headlines, but I was like,
I see what you're saying. It's like, hey, we need to get woke about this.
We need fat actors.
This is becoming a big problem.
These are fair. I mean, it's a fair point. Like if you're talking, if the idea with casting is that you just embrace like diverse representation and stuff by like casting,
it depends on,
even though it's like a weird thing that goes against like kind of
because what are you doing
counterintuitive to acting?
Are you making fun of the character?
It's about the perform, but it's also like so the individual actor's unique performance is so much a part of like a role, and it's like you want to treat that seriously and stuff.
Well, like but Precious, I get it. You would want like a real fat girl.
It should be Eddie Murphy in a fat suit playing this like
it shouldn't be Eddie Murphy in a fat suit. It's like this
Oscar movie.
Did I ever tell you guys about
Oscar movie?
Yeah,
cool. It's Precious.
And he plays
Precious starring Eddie Murphy.
Dude, I came home one day after work. And my brother and Sherpa Derpadoo, they were out of work at the time, and they were smoking a lot of pot. And I came home, and I was like all like just like worn out. And I like looked in the fucking living room, and they were both just stoned out of their minds watching Precious. And they turned around, and they're just like, it's a really good movie.
Tears streaming down their faces.
It was amazing. They felt so many feelings.
Cool.
Everybody made fun of Precious until we saw it, and then we were like, you know what? Monique's actually amazing. And the movie is dark as hell.
Oh, Monique is. I forgot Monique is in it. I thought you were making a joke that Monique was playing the character Precious. Yeah, I forgot Monique is like.
Okay, so what rating do we all give Norbit?
Tour de force.
10
out of 5. 5 out of 5.
5 gold stars out of 5 gold stars. Dude, okay. No,
I love how much you loved it.
Okay, I'll tell you for real.
You needed it.
Like for how much, I'm just saying for how much I currently enjoyed it, like just trying to take every bit of like criticism in, but out. I'm going to give it like 7.5 stars. Like, I really laughed out loud. I understand all of your criticisms, William. I think you've got like very valid points, but like, I just legitimately enjoyed watching it. I don't want to watch it again anytime soon, but like, man, did I like?
Oh, it's a beloved
watch the Clumps. Clumps is on Netflix.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that either. But I mean,
it's good, dude. It's good. You'll like it.
People love this movie.
Trust me.
You know, Tandy Newton says people come up to her all the time and tell them how much they love Norbit.
Really?
That's funny.
It's a family film, you know. It's like something everybody can enjoy.
Kind of.
I saw Nutty Professor. It's possible I saw Nutty Professor with my family.
I would love to see this movie with just a whole fucking theater just full of black people, and just I would love to do that. Stoned as hell and just see that. And I think that would probably be the best experience ever, because they would like really boost it up in a way that I couldn't even understand.
Totally.
I don't know. Maybe that's racist.
Ultimately, this movie's not
right.
for
I think
us.
I think that's the way to watch it.
Yeah,
a lot more fun that way. The only movie I've ever seen with a black audience that like really like lived up to the expectation was the Hills Have Eyes remake, where the audience was like cheering.
Any horror movie, it's great.
Yeah, like all the kills and stuff. I've never really seen a comedy with one.
Yeah,
but you know, I did see the Card Counter this weekend with Tiffany Haddish is in that. It's like an art film. Tiffany Haddish.
Is that the one where she has sex with Oscar Isaac? I heard something about that.
So like there are a bunch of very disappointed black people in that movie theaters.
Oh, why?
We're not because they were either
they're like thinking they're going to Tiffany Haddish movie.
Yeah, or a card counting movie or gambling movie.
Not this like devout Calvinists like.
But I don't know anything about the movie. I didn't know anything about it until I saw she was on Jimmy Kimmel, and I would never watch Jimmy Kimmel because he's turned into a weirdo.
He's boring. No, I gave this movie 1.5 stars because my enjoyment of it is like a triangle just going down over time. Like it starts off like whoa, this is cool. Like there's Eddie Murphy's playing a Chinese guy, and then like. Then by the end of the movie, it's like, how you doing? How you doing? That joke.
There's way too many of those. How you doing?
Okay, yeah, it's so annoying.
But say it right, William.
How you doing?
No, she does
That's
kind of sounds like Yoda. And it's very
There's an
weird.
R in there that you're missing. It's okay.
So I can recommend clips of this movie on YouTube. I can't recommend you watch the entire movie.
I've only watched part of the Clumps, but I would recommend the Clumps over this movie because you just get so many more of performances that you want. Okay. You know, big fat Eddie Murphy. Because,
big fat Eddie Murphy.
So what's your rating?
That's what you want. You want more big fat Eddie Murphy, not just one big fat Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, I want more. Love me.
Adam's all about quantity. He doesn't care about quality.
I get it.
Yeah. Well, the thing about like the Clumps, so there's like a big restaurant.
Okay, what's your rating?
Yeah, give me a rating.
First of all, I've fucking not talked to them all this entire show. Then you're like,
no one cares about the Clumps. The episode's over. You missed your chance.
Right. It's everybody else talks fast. I feel like. I gave it a 2.
Wow. I stand by my 7.5.
I actually enjoyed it a lot about it, but yeah, I mean, ultimately, I'm also holding it up with the Clumps,
which you haven't seen.
I've seen part of it.
Seen the whole part.
There's this scene at the beginning of the Clumps that is I don't know how they do it, honestly. It's like a moving camera shot in a crowded restaurant where Eddie Murphy's playing all of the Clumps and like walking around, like the mom Clump is walking around the dining room table and putting plates down, and she's walking. Like, I don't know how they did this one scene, and it's so good too.
Special effects, baby.
You should shoot it a lot.
Yeah,
but there's background actors.
Yeah, you just
how do they do it?
Figure them out.
Yeah, you figure it out. I'm sure there's lots of. I do visual effects, so I kind of know how they do this.
Yeah, I know. That's why you're really popping.
That's not that
balloon right now.
It's not that hard anymore.
You know.
That's true. I've watched videos on YouTube that have broken down how they do stuff, and I've been so disappointed in a way because it destroyed the magic. Yeah, that's.
But hold on, we're talking about 2005. No, 2000. Clumps came out in 2000.
Yeah, Jurassic Park came out 7 years before. Terminator 2 came out in 92.
I can understand how they did both of those other movies, but the Clumps.
Face replacement.
I'm stumped.
They figured it out.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go back and watch it.
I don't know. You watch the scene and tell me. It's on Netflix. Just watch that. It's in like the first 5 minutes.
Okay.
We can talk about it maybe on the next episode. We got any good
Owen Wilson callbacks we can make or something? Is like,
wow.
I got nothing. I got a sound you make
when you get your ass eaten.
After an hour, yeah, it starts to sound like Owen Wilson.
Wow.
Okay, that's really.
Imagine him just high watching the Clumps.
Owen
just falling asleep, like nodding out.
I can see that.
Like this movie's good.
That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
What?
Best place to OD on heroin is a black movie theater during an comedy.
No, I don't want them to have to deal with that. I know an OD'd white man. They don't need to deal with that.
No, it's like heaven.
As a community.
It's like his happy. But you're in the back row. No one sees you.
I see you. You're
not disturbing anyone. You're just like letting the.
I see what you mean.
You're just feeling the joy of the audience, and you just kind of lean back in your chair and just sort of fall asleep.
I remembered something. Where's Stathis go? I remember
listening.
So
I'm peeing. Hold on.
Okay. I'm turning my mic off. Like, are you like just off screen?
You want to talk, or do you want to just waste time and not get to anything?
Admit it, guys. Be honest. Did you at any point find yourself staring at Rasputin's boobs?
Of course.
Noticing
100%, especially at the end when she was stripping.
Oh yeah.
The splash. I couldn't tell if those are real tits or fake tits, or she ripped her bra off and couldn't tell.
You're like, damn, dude. Oh. I kept finding myself staring at Eddie Murphy.
He looks like a woman in the movie. He moves like a woman. It's his catchphrase. That's the worst.
He's really good. He's such a convincing female performance that it makes you attracted to the character. Eddie Murphy, if he wasn't playing if he wasn't wearing like a big fat suit or whatever, and he just like it was like a Jessica Rabbit thing, Eddie Murphy could do it. I think. I think Eddie Murphy could turn on the fellas.
Okay, bro. Okay, cool.
In a big boob suit or whatever instead of a fat suit.
In a big.
You don't like.
Suit?
You think so? You don't find
through the power of his performance.
Or do you find her attractive or not, Adam?
Okay, I do. Yes.
Are you
I do.
Would you have sex with her if she had a pussy?
Of course. Well,
that delay said.
I just don't like Adam saying he finds.
I just was wondering why you said.
I don't like him saying she's attractive, but he wishes she was skinnier. And then what's the point of? What's your joke? Like, why do you have to end the podcast that way? Why can't you go all the way?
I don't know, man. You can cut me off at any time.
Just eat that butt.
I'm just gone. Yeah,
dude, that's my motto. Eat that fat butt. Do you think fat?
Did you guys eat a fat butt?
Imagine if Owen Wilson was Rasputia.
Yeah. Do you think fat people taste different than regular people's poop?
Fat people's poop?
Or butt? I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Tastes sweeter. Tastes like candy. You see, Patrice O'Neill said his diabetes was so bad that when his girlfriend drank his piss, she said it tasted like cake. And then he went to the doctor. So I think yes.
That's right.
We got to end it with that because we're not gonna be
Jesus Christ. How about Norm Macdonald? Right? That sucks. Oh.
Do you think he enjoyed Norbit?
I feel like he was at the premiere and had a good time.
I think he probably had the same opinion we all did.
He was in Dr. Dolittle, actually. He was one of the voices in Dr. Dolittle. So, and I would imagine that he has some relationship with Eddie Murphy.
Maybe you can enjoy that with his children, like a family event.
Eddie Murphy?
No, like watching Norbit with his teenage kids or something.
Yeah, totally. Okay, let's stop talking though.
All right. Hey guys, thank you so much for having me on this thing. This was great hanging out with you guys. Yeah, I hope you had a good
anything
time.
You want to plug?
Yeah, you guys can check out my band Ape Shit on Spotify, or just Google that shit on fucking YouTube. I don't know. We got a video out there, and I'll be doing some more stuff here and there. I don't know, streaming and acting. My name is Chris Stathis. You can figure it out. Guys, go for it. Fuck yeah.
Adam and Chris made a cool short film you guys should watch.
Oh yeah.
That's Party Animal. It's on Vimeo.
Check it in the links.
Can't put it on YouTube.
You guys should put it on the links. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, put it in the comments or whatever. Yeah, that'd be sick.
Dude, prepare for the Party Animal view count to go up by
oh yeah, at least 13, bro.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.